As Jack sits up to steal a look over the back of the couch, he wonders if the person in his backyard is the one who set his bed on fire, burned it down to the frame, a welcome home message from an unknown friend. He can still see the remains in his mind's eye, the wood frame scorched black and the mattress crispy where the sheets and blankets used to be. Even Victoria's Tempur-Pedic pillows, the plastic foam you wouldn't think would be flammable, burned. A black line of charred rug outlined where the bed had stood, but nothing else in the room had been touched by fire. A professional pyro. That was one of two disturbing items Jack found when he got home from the open road. Another creak in the night, a stick breaking outside the patio doors. The VCR clock flashes 12 o'clock. The wall clock reads 2:45. When Jack looks over the back of the couch, he sees darkness all the way to the rock wall of the garden. Then he hears another sound like the last but louder. A crunch from something heavier than a deer. Someone walking outside, just past the little evergreen trees Victoria planted along the back wall of the house. This is a good time to mention that. So Jack Palms did one big action movie in LA, sort of bottomed out his career with a big drug addiction and a terrible marriage. He and his ex-wife bought a house in Sausalito. She went back to LA, so he's in the house in Sausalito, where she bought the pillows. Jack hits the floor on all fours, crawls between the couch and the coffee table, then around the end table toward the double patio doors. Whatever's out there, he wants to know it before it knows him. At first, all he sees is his own reflection in the glass. Then, just inside the edge of the garden, a glint of something metal pointing out of a bush. The shiny round barrel of a gun. Jack drops to his chest as the gun goes off. He hears the whistle of a silencer, and a bullet pierces the glass right above him, right where he'd be if he had been standing. He looks out through the bottom row of windows in the door and sees a man come out of the bushes, a man right outside his living room, not 5 feet away. His face is hard to make out in the shadows, but he's white, serious looking. Jack has seen him before, but that's just a hunch, maybe not even right. The man in the yard raises the gun and its long silencer and shoots 3 times through the right side windows of the door. What he's shooting at, Jack has no idea. Probably his own reflection. Shards of glass fall onto Jack's back, and he covers his head with his hands, hoping he won't hear another shot. After a moment, he looks up and sees the 3 sets of metal locks at the top, the handle, and the bottom of the door, and goes to slide the first one. To his surprise, it's already open. He tries to remember if he locked it, but he hasn't thought about doing that since he left for his road trip with the checks. Or maybe his bed burner left it unlocked. He gathers himself into a 4-point stance, his arms straight down from his shoulders, hands on the floor, and his legs bent behind him, resting on the balls of his feet. He focuses on the shooter's knees, hoping the man is still looking at his own reflection. The shooter steps forward, oblivious to the crunching sound from the wood chips in the yard. And that's when Jack goes. He jams his body forward, his legs straight then pumping, arms shielding his face as he hits the patio door's wooden center with both forearms. He blasts the doors open, shooting his body out onto the short wooden porch, and in the next moment, he's in the yard going head first for the intruder's knees. Like a quarterback evading the blitz at the last second, the shooter tries to shuffle to his side, but Jack grabs him around both thighs with an arm and a shoulder and drives him down hard onto his back. The gun goes off, its silencer lisping into the night. The guy chops at Jack around the shoulder, grazing his ear with the butt of the gun, and then Jack feels the hard gun stock bounce off the back of his neck. Jack tries for a better hold on his attacker's legs, and the guy scrambles backward, turning and crawling on all fours for a few yards before he straightens up into a run, just as Jack is standing, uncomfortable in his socks on the wood chips. In a moment, the guy's gone. Jack hears the sound of feet going faster than he can run in his socks, tearing out away from the yard in the dark along the side of his house. Fuck, he says, shaking the dirt and chips off. He scrambles back across the deck and into the living room, vaults the couch, and rushes to the side door. In the darkness, from his side porch, Jack can hear feet pounding down the driveway. Then he sees the shooter under the streetlight more than 30 feet away. A man with light brown hair and a medium build, running down the last 5 feet of the driveway, into the street to a new yellow Mustang retro redo, its backside as recognizable as anything on the road, pushed into the air like a lonely horse. The shooter takes a last look back and then hurries into the car. Jack wants to yell something after him, a threat, something, but he doesn't. As the car starts up, a puff of exhaust comes from the center of the bumper, and then in a flash of taillights and peeling rubber, it's gone. Jack hasn't even made it off the porch. He momentarily considers chasing the car down on his Ducati, but shirtless and without shoes, he wouldn't get far. Maybe he should start sleeping with his shoes on, Jack thinks. That, or start sleeping somewhere else.